This is another man's treasure on Reaper 1 Skull. These quests here in the 12 are a little bit tougher than most of the older quests. I almost thought of running them on Elite for loot, but decided I'd go ahead and give it a shot, see how it went.
The scavenger foreman says he's lost control of the Stormreach dump. Shinies are now so abundant that the workers have rebelled.
Alright, so the first thing, just wanted to check if there's any Reapers. I mean, if I saw a bunch of Reapers, I might think about just restarting. Alright, let's check this area. And I see a red Cobalt Archeron. That's generally pretty tough. I'm gonna get my hireling. Looks like I forgot to summon my hireling, but they do extra damage, so that's one of the tougher champions to face when they're red. When they're that tougher champion, I'm not sure what they're called, but it's like a redder, kind of a redder look to the champion symbol. So I'm gonna be real careful not to aggro that mob while I get these guys. And what I might try to do is trip them, because trip that one, because he's a caster, so it's probably a little easier to trip. And we don't necessarily have the greatest trip skill. I haven't put much into it. All right, the other ones aren't champions, so that's the only one I'm worried about right there. So I'm going to okay, looks like I drew some back. That's actually good news. So let's try to get these guys first, and then we're going to try to trip the orange name guy. Did not work, and you can see the kind of damage he's doing. Let's try to just kill him fast. Stacking that damage on there. And so that's a armor class reduced. I don't know how much of a difference that's really making, but you know, these stacking debuffs could be pretty tough. Did I grab that crest? Yes, I did. So I should have 2 now in my inventory, and I do. And this is the 3rd. Alright, so this next area is tough. It looks like we just have 1 champion there. This next area could be tough because they're orange names. Let's grab these guys. And on Reaper, well, I see one thing for sure. I'm missing, for some reason, my Sacred Defense. I must have turned that off by mistake. That would explain why they're hitting a little. I feel like they're hitting a little harder. So let's go for this guy. Again, I'm just going to try tripping. I don't expect it to work. It worked. Nice. I mean, even just taking less damage for half his hit points is a help. So it's good to know we can get these guys. All right, there's one more. This guy. All right. Gonna back up. So again, 2 red names, both champions, kind of expected. Gonna use my buff here and gonna trip them. Good luck. Really want to keep them away from the hirelings here, because these guys are gonna kill the hireling. Okay, I'm gonna try to give the hireling a chance to heal me. These mark laws are pretty tough. Okay, both down, good. So these orange name champions hit pretty hard. Alright,
A warforged stands on an island surrounded by bubbling acid. Oddly enough, the warforged has a crystal embedded in its chest.
It's an interesting thing about Reaper that I'm almost less afraid of these red names than I am of these orange names. Even though they have more hit points, and they do more damage than a regular enemy, they typically don't hit as hard as the champions. So it's kind of one of those funny things about Reaper. It's kind of like it's only an end boss, not so bad.
The green crystal mounted in the chest of the warforged shatters, opening the green barrier.
3 barriers have to be open, and that's the first. We're going to do the swim last. It's a pretty tough swim. I think we're actually, as far as builds go, we're in really a pretty good build to be doing that swim. Curious to see if my save is high enough. But the nice thing about the swim is if you do it flawlessly and don't make any mistakes, even if you don't have evasion, you won't take damage. But what I'm hoping is with my evasion, then I'll have a chance of surviving if I make a mistake. Alright, we're just going to fight a bunch of oozes. We're in pretty good shape. These guys are taking acid damage. That's good news. And using this shine weapon that dropped in stands. I think the first stands Den Mother area chest that I opened had it. I didn't get the name item I was looking for, which is pretty typical. Those drops are very, very rare. But I did get this, which in some ways I'm almost happier about.
The walls shimmer softly, then fade into invisibility.
Rather than just run this maze, we're going to order our Harling to do it.
The lever in the center
they will navigate
of
the
room.
maze for us, and we'll give our Harling their exercise. So if you're not sure what I did there, all I did is highlight the lever, right-clicked on it, and then clicked on my Hireling's use, button here, order your companion to interact with the current target, and then the Hireling. Sometimes they might just like stop midstream for no reason, but generally they'll just keep going until they get to it. And you can see they're navigating that maze for us.
Pulling the lever, and the invisible maze dims the yellow crystal, which surely must open the yellow barrier.
So that's 2 of 3. All right, now we have the swim. And this is probably the scariest part of this quest. And a lot of people will, they'll want advertise we need a swimmer for this quest. It's not the toughest in the game. It's certainly the toughest at this level in terms of like a swim type thing. We have underwater action from our Myra set, so that's a kind of a plus. I guess it would be the boots. I'm going to stick the boots on hotbar here as well. And it's giving us underwater action. It doesn't give us the swim plus 10. I probably shouldn't have deleted that item. But we have strength, so our swim isn't too terrible. And so I'm going to give myself all the buffs here because there are, really I only need, actually, I'll just do electrical and my heroism potion, and that should be all I need for this. And then you want to kind of go slowly. If you don't have underwater action, you hit these patches and they will bring you to, it'll be like you're out of the water. All right, so these spike traps are low, so we just want to swim high. Even with my evasion and my high, okay, now we want to, this part you could take kind of slow, and so you see you want to go low and then at some point switch to high. And so we're going to do that very slowly so we don't take damage. And then this part you also have spikes on the side, which we need to avoid. And every so often the physics in this game are funny. My hireling, unfortunately, I'm going to order them to stand right here so they don't die. Sometimes it looks like, okay, I'm not really in the trap, but you're still taking damage, and that's okay. Just go slow, and then if you take damage, alright, if you take damage, then you want to stop. And I should have really had potions here to get myself up in case I took some heavy damage. Alright, and so we got to go right in the middle. And so sometimes if you right click and sort of hold that and swim towards that little circle, it'll kind of keep you from going. All right, so very dangerous electric traps here, and so we're going to look at the pattern, and so we want to figure out, do we go high, do we go low, do we go right, do we go left? And so the pattern here looks, and sometimes it can be deceiving, looks like low would work and high would work. So I'm going to go kind of low and right and see if that works. All right, now we're past the first one, and this one looks like high and right. And so I'm going to go up and high and right. Whoa, that was close. All right, and just kind of watch the pattern because sometimes it'll be down and then up. And this one is clearly just down, so we're going to go to the left here. And then there is going to be a part of this that's going to pull us fast, and we just have to quickly decide where to go. All right, so this is probably the toughest one we've seen so far. It's pretty much covering the whole thing, but it looks like up center is our best bet. All right, and so if I was getting hit by the electric, you would see save, save, save if I was making my saves. So we know I wasn't making my saves, and that actually I just avoided taking damage there. So that could be done even if you don't have evasion. Whoops. Okay, now this is the tough part because we're being pulled, and I got lucky there. I didn't take damage, but I think I should have went high instead of low. All right. Here's another one. Looks like the current stop, which is good, but now we've got another one of these tough ones, and I'm seeing up and to the right is the only way around that. So let's do that. All right, now the currents are tough again. And we're to the end. So I'm going to go down here. I think these things blow out, and you need a high swim skill to resist them, and I find the best thing is to go low here. All right, so this is a good build because if we have evasion, we have a chance of, if we make a mistake, of not dying. But there, we didn't actually.
Pulling the lever,
even if we
dims
didn't
the
have
red
evasion, we would have
crystal
been
on the
fine
wall.
because
The
we never
red
saw save.
barrier
So that
has
means we
been
avoided
opened.
all the damage.
The final crystal goes dark, and the last barrier fades away. Now,
Alright, is there
to
a
get to the
shrine? Nope.
bottom of this mystery.
Alright, I'm going to renew my shield. Looks like I've got time on my other buffs. And let's see if I see any shrine. I see a resurrection shrine. I think we'll be okay even if we don't have a shrine. So now we just literally just jump down. This is a quest that progresses downward. And I think, oh, here's the shrine. I think there might be some oozes. I'm going to go ahead and use this. Just because I'm almost out of clickies here. You see my gloves, I've used 3 of my 4 shield clickies. So I mainly want to have that. I don't think this part's going to take a real long time, but I tend to be just a little more cautious on Reaper.
Beyond the large doors is a disorganized but functional wizard's workshop. Objects and creatures are scattered around.
Two champion spiders, but fortunately the first one noticed us, so we can take these one at a time. And they're not Black Widows, which is good. Black Widows are notoriously the worst at webbing us. And we actually have good stats against the web, but I'm still finding them to be pretty rough when I encounter them. Alright, let's get this Pandemonium champion. That's the lion, so it's a pretty tough call as to which is worse, the champion or the knockdown. But I'm a little more worried about the champion because if I get knocked down, the champion's going to be what kills me there. And you probably could tell, I mean, compared to the other level 6 Reapers we're running, these guys have a lot more hit points, and the champion certainly hit a lot harder. And that's typical new quests a lot of times. All right, let's get to our use weapon. These look like piles of gold or silver or platinum, but they're actually typed as oozes, so they do weapon damage if we don't use a blue shine weapon.
Three-dimension doors stand before a trio of glyphs on the wall. The glyphs represent locks that must be opened to reveal the way forward.
Alright, a quick explanation of this area. Basically, there's 3 doors. We just have to go through and do the objective in each of the 3 doors, and then we'll get to an end fight. It's not, super difficult, but we're just going to go ahead and go. It's good to have the wiki up on this one. There's a, if you don't already know the answer, there's a question with some riddles, and if you don't answer those riddles correctly, you end up having a fight. So this is just a straight up puzzle, and so the first thing I always do is turn these so that they don't accidentally activate. These are, whenever you see the red tiles, those are traps. And so if you make the puzzle go that way, you can actually end up with some heavy damage. Alright, and I usually tend to solve these kind of somewhat backwards.
Completing the tile puzzle opens the blue lock.
Alright, now we can just go back. So we've got one of the 3 doors done. That's a pretty simple one. Alright, so this is a maze.
Your body becomes
I don't think we can highlight the thing and have our hireling do it, but it's also not as complex of a maze. You can kind of sort of look up here and see that it's, as far as I know, this is always the same every time. You just go this way and, oh no, I guess not. There's no lever there. This is where I've always seen the lever, but they must kind of randomly move it around. Let's see. There it is here.
The lever is pulled.
I've only run this quest a handful of times, and whenever I've run it, the lever was always in the same place, which is not there. So that's kind of a new one for me, that lever's in different places. this is the last one we need to do. And again, these are not terribly difficult. And these you just, you have to know the answer. I wouldn't have known the answers without looking it up in the wiki. How many floors does the Tower of the 12 have? I probably would have answered 12, but it's actually 13. And then, which member of the sovereign host is known as the patron of wealth and trade? Again, didn't know the answer to that. A D&D buff, a real D&D buff probably would, but it's Kol Karan. And then the city of Sharn on the continent Corvair is known as the City of Towers. What is the reason behind this name? Um, and it's basically a manifest zone of Serenia. So we're just going to pick this middle answer.
Answering the final riddle correctly has opened the purple lock.
If you get those wrong, you just are going to have a fight.
The 3 arcane locks are now open.
All right, I'm
There's a
rebuff.
deep rumble somewhere in the complex as the passage to the madman in charge opens.
I don't think there's anything that does magic missile in here, but you could get a Reaper. There's not a huge wave of enemies here, so if we get any, hopefully it's just one. And luckily, we can, before the fight activates, we could fight any Reapers that spawned early. All right, no Reapers. So now we'll just talk to this guy.
The renegade transmuter.
And we just fight his army.
Causing the nearby
again, there,
guard.
it's almost like a relief. They do hit hard. Griffins do, and these do hit harder than most other level 6 red names. But again, it's kind of like, oh, it's only a red name, so it can't be a champion. It's almost a relief. And also, we fight them one at a time. That makes it a little easier. But you can see they're hitting hard. Hireling felt pretty confident that he could get me, I guess. But, these are larger numbers than we've been seeing at this point. Alright, I'm going to get this Hireling to full. Alright, now he's aggroed on Hireling, that's bad. So yeah, double attack.
The Guardian falls to the floor with
so
a
now,
heavy thud. The room rumbles ominously
now we just destroy these.
as he begins chanting a new song. You've thwarted the transmutation.
And that completes the quest.
Destroy the entire city. There must be a way to stop him. Stormreach is safe again. And the mad transmuter got a taste of his own medicine.
No named items there. There are some good named items in these chests in the quest we're going to run here in the 12. So far we've been skunked. We haven't received any named items that we could use, but running on Reaper is our best chance of getting those. Alright, nothing too interesting in the end chest. What's that is another man's treasure on Reaper 1 skull.